weeks been like for you, and just going from high school coaching to being up here, big move, just getting everything together and situated?
Yeah, it's been a speedy transition. I came around the first of the year, was here for a little bit, and then traveled back to Texas and did some recruiting there. And so I've done more traveling here in the last month and a half or so than I have in quite some time. But just awe-inspiring, to be honest, to have an opportunity to be a part of this university and in this football program and meet the people in this community. It's been an awesome journey thus far.
Hey, Coach, I'm curious, with your success in the high school ranks, had you had a lot of college opportunities before, and what was it about this opportunity that drew you to Nebraska?
Well, I think anytime you surround yourself with great people, and it's amazing what those good football players will do for a guy's career, and we did have a great deal of success, which offers and provides opportunity, but the timing wasn't right. Some of that was family related. My kids are older now. I've got a senior son, and at the end of the day, it's Coach Matt Rule, a great staff that I've had a chance and a pleasure to get to know in the last month and a half, and it's the University of Nebraska. That's different.
How closely did you pay attention to what Coach Rule did at Baylor when you were close to him, and also the success that high school coaches in Texas had in going to join his staff? What kind of an impact did that have on you and your decision?
Well, paid very close attention. In fact, one of the very first schools that Coach Rule with Joey McGuire visited on the recruiting trail was Martin High School, and so our relationship began at that time. Got an opportunity to take a step back and watch that program grow and develop. Have a tremendous amount of admiration for not only the development of the team and the individual athlete, but also the approach that Coach Rule takes with the development of the human being, and that's right up my alley.
Bob, Andy Kennedy from KTV. I know that you probably think, I'm guessing, that you can learn a lot, but what can these coaches that have been established in the college ranks learn from you, and what do you hope that they can learn?
Well, no question that there'll be a great learning curve for me. But I have been a head coach for 26 years. I've been a high school coach for 31. With that has come all different types of human beings, different types of kids, different types of coaches, different types of schools. And so I hope that experience gives me the opportunity to bring some value to the program and bring some value to the coaches and kids that are in it.
Husker 24/7. What's your early read on the tight ends room you're taking over? I know you're just getting going, but what
Sure.
are your early thoughts on it?
Well, my early thoughts are it's all about building a relationship with these guys right now. And I've had a couple of opportunities to have dinner with them and sit down individually, build those relationships. You can't have rules without relationships. And so that's the phase that we're in. My early impressions are I look forward to seeing them every single day. I can't wait to have the opportunity to coach them. And more importantly, I can't wait to have an opportunity to build a lifelong relationship with the guys that I coach.
Hey, Bob. Luke Moore from Lincoln Journal-Star. Getting Ismail and Jeremiah here, what were your conversations with Coach Rule about, what they bring to the roster, and what have you seen from them?
Well, I think the first thing for me to get here was to have an opportunity to be around the roster, to be able to make that assessment. And I actually reached out to Coach Rule before I came here and shared my thoughts on those two guys. I think they both bring, first and foremost, a great attitude into the locker room and a willingness to do anything they can to help the team, which I think is a welcome addition to any program. But both of them dynamic athletes and guys that I think will come in here and very humbly work really, really hard to try to bring some value to the program as well.
You've, of course, been back to Texas just since you started here to recruit. What's the reception been like when you've gone around in a different role and gone into high schools and been with Coach Rule and other assistants in Texas? What have you seen?
Well, it's been great. It's been a homecoming for me. Obviously, I've put a lot of years in there as their peer, and I'm still their peer. Guys, I'm always going to be a high school football coach. I just happen to be coaching at the University of Nebraska now. And so that aspect of it, the personal aspect of it, was exactly the same. But I'll also say that I think those coaches that are there, the high school coaches in Texas, the high school coaches around the country, when one of us has an opportunity to make a step like this, we root for each other. And so I was very grateful for the reception that I got from those guys. And then obviously I think anytime you come in and wear this brand and walk in with Coach Rule, it's a thrill for those kids and a thrill for the high school coaches that you visit with.
Coach, Tom Stone from Omaha Herald. Brad, you used to have a relationship in the state of Texas, got a lot of players over the years. Ever since they joined the Big Ten, I think it's been feeling like they can't get the kids to come up here in the cold weather as much. Is that true? Can Nebraska get back down to Texas again and get a pipeline going again?
Well, I know we've made a great effort in the last month. We had coach in Houston. We've had a coach in the Waco area. I spent most of my time in Dallas-Fort Worth and deep East Texas. So there's a conscientious effort. Can we bring the Texas high school football player to the University of Nebraska? We're banking on it.
Coach, Brady Opens from Hill Varsity. I know you've also got a very eclectic special teams background. What is kind of your philosophy there, and how do you manage to make plays there on that end?
Well, I just think that's an X factor at any level. I'm really excited about the opportunity to learn from Coach Foley and then work with Josh Martin in that phase as well, and all of us will have a hand in that. But I do think that's an area where you can create some separation. We made a living on it at the high school level, and I'm looking forward to having an opportunity to bring value in that regard here as well.
About Evan Bland, Omaha World Herald. We're talking to Garrett McGuire today too. I guess I'm curious what you've known about Garrett maybe as a player in Texas in high school, or just what he's been like as a coach to work with.
I've known Garrett since he was a young boy, and I would consider that family. Joey and I have been friends for a long, long time. We coached against each other when I first arrived in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in 2006. Built a relationship from there, and I've had an opportunity to watch him grow up and not only be an outstanding teammate and player at the high school and college level, but a really, really sharp, driven young coach that's going to be wildly successful here and in the future.
Bob, before this job, had you ever been to Nebraska before? Had you followed the program closely at all in your time as a college football fan?
Oh, absolutely. Now I'm in my early 50s, and so my recollection of Nebraska football is Thanksgiving night and being 15, 16, 17 years old, and there was only one show on TV, and had a tremendous amount of admiration for it. Our first trip to Nebraska, my wife, my family, and I, our two kids, tripped up here right before Christmas, had a chance to snoop around a little bit and go out to dinner, be in the community, check out some of the different high schools. So yes, we did our homework before we made this trip.
You kind of hit on this earlier, but what beyond the football part made you gel with Coach Rule, even when he was at Baylor, or when you first met him, that made that relationship sort of take off, where you feel like, man, we fit together?
Well, I just think, again, like-minded in regards to not only the development of the athlete, but development of the human being, and challenging them to be the very best teammate, the very best person, the very best player that they can be. And that's right up my alley. I'm a character development guy. I want the very best for those that I coach with and those that I get to coach. And so most of our conversations were always about human development before they were athletic development.
You talked about knowing Joey McGuire for a long time. I'm curious, has he given you any advice just about making that jump from high school coach to college and some of the challenges that go with that?
Oh, we've had dozens of conversations, Coach McGuire and I. And again, I think the Texas high school football circle is a tight one, especially when they're close friends. And so, yeah, they've been great resources for me.
What's Joey told you about looking out for Garrett and helping him out?
Yeah, Garrett doesn't need any looking out for, I will assure you. He's very, very well prepared, and you're going to see that here in a second.
Bob, do you think that you can get the Miles Garretts of the world to come to Nebraska? Do you want to compete for the best kids in Texas here over time?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's just a small part of this job, but certainly I have great familiar with the state of Texas and the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we've got a brand to be able to go in there and create a great competition to draw the very best players into this program, this school, and this university.
What does it kind of mean to you to have your son Gage, be a part of the program too, and kind of continue that relationship with him?
Well, I think coaching profession is a challenging one, just from a standpoint of time. It takes a great deal of time to do the job well, and I've been blessed in regards to being able to have my family as a part of every school and community that we've ever worked at. and for. And this situation will be no different. You know, I have a son in the program, a wife and a daughter very supportive of what we're doing, and have them very, very close to me is, I couldn't and wouldn't want to do it any other way.
Coach Lauren Michelson, Channel News here in Lincoln. You talked a lot about player development being something you want to bring to this team and this tight end room, but what other values do you want to instill into this group of players?
Well, certainly player development, and want them to have a chance to be the very best player that they can possibly be. But at the end of the day, if all we teach is blocking and tackling, I think we've sold them short. And so I want to teach them how to be a good dad. I want to teach them how to be a good husband. I want to teach them how to be a great teammate and a great employee. And our meetings will always start with that, human development before player development.
Having come from the high school ranks so recently, do you feel like that gives you a unique perspective on the recruiting trail, having been around these high school kids and knowing exactly what they're going through?
I think certainly there's some uniqueness from a recruiting standpoint in the fact that I've been on the opposite side of the desk, and so I've seen a lot of coaches come through. I've seen their interactions with players, and so yeah, I do think that provides a unique perspective for me, and had a chance to learn a great deal while I watched that process happen over the course of the last quarter of a century.
What can you share about the vision that you have with Coach Satterfield, with Coach Rule, about the tight ends and their usage in this offense?
Well, we're just getting started from an X and O standpoint, but we're busy at it. And I do know, just based on past history, that we're going to use multiple tight ends. We want to be physical. We want to create a new line of scrimmage. And I'm very, very excited about the opportunity to have an impact on this offense with the guys that we have in that room.
I'm curious, how familiar were you with Thomas Fedoni? I know you've worked with high school American games and things before. Was he a guy on your radar that you knew about even before you came to Nebraska?
Oh, absolutely. And again, we'll make that assessment as we move forward over the course of the next several months. But yes, the great players, they pop out to you in advance.
Anything else, Coach?
Guys, thanks a lot for having me today. I appreciate it.